echoes in the night. The scent of motor oil and leather conditioner hung in the air as Marcus Reeves wiped his hands on a shop rag. His weathered fingers, once the steadiest hands behind any wheel in New Harbor, now meticulously restored classic automobiles instead of outrunning police cruisers. 6 years had passed since he'd walked away from his life as a getaway driver, 6 years of building a legitimate business that specialized in breathing new life into forgotten vehicles. That should do it, he murmured to himself, admiring the freshly restored dashboard of the 1967 Pontiac GTO. The car belonged to a wealthy banker who paid premium rates and asked no questions about Marcus's past. That's how he preferred all his clients, distant and disinterested in anything beyond his undeniable talent with automobiles. Marcus glanced at his watch. Nearly midnight. The workshop lights cast long shadows across the concrete floor as he began his closing routine. This converted warehouse on the outskirts of town afforded him privacy and space, both commodities he'd learned to value since leaving his old life behind. The phone rang, piercing the silence. Marcus frowned. Nobody called this late except trouble. Reeves Restorations, he answered, voice guarded. Silence greeted him, followed by what sounded like shallow breathing. Hello? Marcus pressed, tension creeping up his spine. Who is this? The line went dead with a soft click. Marcus set the phone down slowly, unease settling in his stomach like a cold stone. He moved to the security panel and cycled through the exterior cameras. Nothing unusual appeared on the feeds, just his nearly empty parking lot and the abandoned loading dock next door. As he reached for the lights, headlights swept across the front windows, illuminating the workshop in harsh white light. A dark sedan rolled to a stop just outside, engine idling. Marcus didn't recognize the vehicle. It wasn't one of his regular clients, and nobody had appointments this late. He reached beneath the counter, fingers finding the cold reassurance of the .38 revolver he kept there, a habit from his past life he couldn't quite shake. Just some lost driver, he told himself, though his instincts screamed otherwise. The headlights remained fixed on the building, neither advancing nor retreating. Marcus moved cautiously toward the front door, staying in shadow. Through the glass, he could make out a dark sedan. Expensive, nondescript, perfect for remaining unmemorable. Damn it, he whispered. Only certain types of people drove cars like that, people who didn't want to be remembered. The car's engine cut suddenly, plunging the lot into darkness. Marcus tensed, gripping the gun tighter as he squinted into the darkness. Then a sharp tap at the back door made him whirl around. It came again, more insistent. Not from the front where the car waited, but from the rear service entrance. Someone was trying to flank him. Marcus moved silently across the workshop floor, navigating between half-restored vehicles. His heart hammered against his ribs, old instincts flooding back. He positioned himself beside the door, weapon ready. Who's there? He called out, voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. A woman's voice answered, barely above a whisper. Marcus, please, let me in. His blood turned to ice. He recognized that voice, even after all these years. Come on, Marcus. They're watching the front, the voice urged. I don't have much time. Marcus hesitated. Memories flashing through his mind. Memories of betrayal, of a job gone wrong, of waking up in a hospital with Detective Daniels telling him he'd been left for dead. Give me one reason, he growled. Because you promised once that you'd always help me, the voice replied. And because what I'm carrying in my arms is yours too. The midnight visitor Marcus's hand trembled slightly as he unlocked the back door. The heavy metal swung open to reveal a woman silhouetted against the darkness, thinner than he remembered, her once vibrant auburn hair now cut short and dulled with fatigue. But her eyes, those striking amber eyes, remained unchanged. Olivia, he breathed, hardly believing she stood before him. Olivia Wright stepped inside quickly, clutching a bundle to her chest. Her gaze darted nervously over her shoulder before Marcus secured the door behind her. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice cracking. I wouldn't have come if there was anywhere else. Marcus kept the revolver lowered but ready. 6 years, Olivia. 6 years of silence after you disappeared with Castellano's money. After I nearly bled out in that warehouse? I know, she replied, her eyes glistening in the dim light. And I'll explain everything. But right now, we need to move away from the windows. As they retreated deeper into the workshop, Marcus noticed Olivia's protective grip on the bundle she carried. When they reached his office, she carefully adjusted the blanket, revealing the face of a sleeping child. A little girl no more than 5 years old, with a constellation of freckles across her nose and chestnut hair that fell in unruly waves. "This is Penny," Olivia said softly. "Your daughter." The revelation hit Marcus like a physical blow. He sank into his desk chair, eyes fixed on the child's face. Now that he looked closer, he could see his own features reflected in her delicate profile, the same sharp jawline, the same slight curve to her eyebrows. "That's not possible," he whispered, though he knew immediately it was. "Their last night together before everything fell apart." "I found out a week after the Castellano job," Olivia explained, gently stroking Penny's hair. "I never took that money for myself, Marcus. I used it to disappear because Castellano threatened to kill me when he discovered I was pregnant." Her voice hardened. "He said no driver of his would be distracted by family obligations. I had to choose, stay and watch you die trying to protect us, or disappear and give you both a chance at life." Marcus's mind reeled with conflicting emotions, anger at the deception, wonder at the sleeping child, suspicion at Olivia's sudden reappearance. "Why now?" he demanded. "Why come back and risk everything?" Olivia's expression darkened. "Because someone found us. 3 days ago, a man approached Penny at her school. He told her he was an old friend of her parents and asked if she'd like to meet her daddy." She swallowed hard. "When I picked her up, I noticed a black sedan following us home. The same car has appeared everywhere since." "Castellano," Marcus muttered. "No." Olivia shook her head. "Castellano died 2 years ago in prison. This is worse. It's Vega." The name sent a chill through Marcus. Roman Vega, Castellano's former lieutenant, was known for his creative approaches to retribution. If Vega had found Olivia, it wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about settling old scores. A sharp knock on the front door interrupted them. Through the security monitor, Marcus could see a tall figure in a long coat standing in the pool of light outside the workshop. "Detective Daniels," Marcus whispered, recognizing the man who'd arrested him years ago. "He still watches this place occasionally." "Does he know about your past with Castellano's crew?" Olivia asked urgently. "He suspects but could never prove it. He thinks I've gone legitimate." The knocking came again. More insistent. "Marcus," Olivia gripped his arm. "If he sees me, if he reports back that I'm here with Penny..." Marcus nodded, understanding the implications. "Stay here. Keep quiet." He moved toward the front, tucking the revolver into the back of his waistband. Taking a deep breath, he opened the door just enough to reveal himself. "Detective, it's midnight. What can I do for you?" Detective Nathaniel Daniels stood with his hands in his pockets, his weathered face impassive. "Interesting visitors you've got tonight, Reeves?" He nodded toward the dark sedan now parked across the street. "Old friends coming around?" "No idea what you're talking about," Marcus replied evenly. "I'm just finishing up some work." Daniels leaned closer. "Listen carefully. That car belongs to associates of Roman Vega. Wherever they show up, bodies tend to follow." His eyes narrowed. "I thought you were done with that life." "I am," Marcus insisted. "Then why?" Daniels asked quietly. "Did a woman reported missing 6 years ago just slip through your back door carrying a child?" Marcus froze, his carefully constructed world beginning to crumble around him. "I don't know what you're planning," Daniels continued. "But if innocent lives are at risk, especially a child's, I won't look the other way." He handed Marcus a business card. "You've got 24 hours to come clean, or I start an official investigation." As Daniels walked away, Marcus closed the door, his mind racing. He returned to find Olivia standing in the office doorway, her face pale. "He saw us," she whispered. "Yes," Marcus admitted. "And we're not the only ones being watched." Together they looked at Penny, still sleeping peacefully, unaware that her world hung in precarious balance. "We can't stay here," Marcus decided. already moving toward a locked cabinet in the corner. He retrieved a duffel bag containing emergency cash, a burner phone, and fake IDs, remnants of a life he thought he'd left behind. "Where will we go?" Olivia asked. Marcus zipped the bag closed. "I know someone who might help us. Someone even Vega wouldn't dare cross." As they prepared to leave through a concealed garage door, Marcus caught Olivia's arm. "When this is over, I want the whole truth." "Every detail," she nodded solemnly. "I promise." Marcus glanced at Penny one last time, feeling a fierce protectiveness surge through him. Whatever mistakes he'd made in the past, whatever wrongs needed righting, he would not let them touch his daughter. Ghosts from yesterday. The night enveloped them as Marcus guided his restored 1970 Chevelle SS through back roads and industrial zones, avoiding main thoroughfares where traffic cameras might track their movement. In the passenger seat, Olivia maintained a vigilant watch behind them, while Penny slept in the back, secured with a makeshift seatbelt. "She has your eyes," Olivia remarked softly, breaking the tense silence. Marcus glanced in the rearview mirror at the sleeping child. "And your stubbornness, I imagine." A ghost of a smile crossed Olivia's face. "Among other qualities." She hesitated before continuing. "I've told her about you, you know. Not everything, but that her father was brave, that he could drive like nobody else." Marcus's grip tightened on the steering wheel. "I'm not that man anymore, Olivia, aren't you?" she challenged gently. "You still keep escape routes mapped out. You still have go bags and contingency plans. Some instincts never leave us," he couldn't argue with that. Even as he'd built his legitimate business, part of him had always remained alert, waiting for the past to catch up, and now it had in ways he never could have anticipated. They drove in silence for nearly an hour before Marcus turned onto a rutted dirt road leading to what appeared to be an abandoned industrial complex. In reality, it was anything but abandoned. "This is still here?" Olivia asked, surprised. "Elijah's operation grew after you left," Marcus explained as they approached a nondescript warehouse. "He's expanded from just modifying vehicles to providing other services, like hiding fugitives, among other things." 3 armed guards intercepted them at the entrance, but quickly stood down when they recognized Marcus. Inside, the warehouse hummed with activity despite the late hour. Mechanics working on vehicles with removed VIN plates, fabricators creating custom parts, and technicians installing sophisticated electronics. Elijah Frost met them on the main floor. At 65, the former military engineer walked with a slight limp, but his piercing blue eyes remained sharp as ever beneath his shock of white hair. "Marcus," he greeted, his deep voice echoing. "Been a while?" His gaze shifted to Olivia, then lingered on the sleeping child in her arms. Understanding dawned on his weathered face. "I see. We need to disappear for a while," Marcus explained. "Vega's people found them." Elijah's expression darkened. "Vega's been making moves since Castellano died. Consolidating power, eliminating old rivals." He motioned for them to follow him to a private office above the workshop floor. Once inside, he closed the soundproof door and activated a signal jammer. "What exactly did you take from them?" he asked Olivia directly. $2 million in cash and bearer bonds," she answered without hesitation, "and a flash drive containing client lists, blackmail material, and offshore account numbers." Marcus stared at her, stunned. "You never mentioned a flash drive." "It was my insurance policy," Olivia explained. "I knew Castellano might eventually track me down, but not if exposing his operation would destroy everything he built." Elijah stroked his beard thoughtfully. "And now Vega wants it back." "The money's gone," Olivia admitted. "Used for new identities, moving constantly. But the drive is secure, hidden where no one will find it. Except you," Marcus noted. She nodded. "It's our only leverage." Elijah moved to a computer terminal. "You've got bigger problems than Vega. Your detective friend has put out a quiet alert. Not an APB, but a notification to watch for your vehicle." He pulled up traffic camera footage showing Detective Daniels examining Marcus's workshop with several officers. "He's moved faster than expected." Marcus cursed under his breath. "He said I had 24 hours. Looks like he changed his mind," Elijah observed. Probably called in some favors when he realized you'd fled with a missing person and a minor. Penny stirred then, blinking sleepily. When her eyes focused on Marcus, she stared with undisguised curiosity. "Are you my dad?" she asked directly, her voice small but steady. The question, so simple yet so profound, momentarily robbed Marcus of speech. "Yes," he finally managed. "I think I am." Penny considered this with remarkable composure for a 5-year-old. "Mom said you couldn't be with us because it wasn't safe. That's complicated," Marcus replied, shooting a glance at Olivia. "Are you going to stay with us now?" Penny persisted. Before Marcus could formulate an answer, Elijah's security system chimed. He quickly checked the monitors and frowned. "We've got visitors. Black sedan at the perimeter gate." Marcus moved to look at the screen. "That's not Vega's car from earlier." "No," Elijah agreed grimly. "It's Detective Daniels." "Safe harbor. How did he find us so quickly?" Olivia whispered, clutching Penny closer. Elijah zoomed in on the surveillance feed. "He's alone. No backup units visible." Marcus watched the detective exit his vehicle and approach the main gate, hands conspicuously empty, showing no weapon. "This doesn't make sense. Even Daniels wouldn't come to a place like this without backup." "Unless he's not here officially," Elijah suggested, studying the detective's body language. "Look, no radio, no partner. This is off the books." A decision crystallized in Marcus's mind. "Let him in. Just him." Olivia grabbed his arm. "Are you insane? He's a cop!" "Who knows we're here but hasn't called for backup?" Marcus pointed out. "There's something else going on." Elijah considered Marcus for a long moment before nodding. "Your call." "But my people will be ready if things go south." He pressed a button on his desk. "Grant him access. Escort him to the secondary meeting room. Full protocol." 2 armed guards led Detective Daniels into a spartanly furnished room containing only a table and 4 chairs. When Marcus entered alone, the detective stood with arms crossed. "Unimpressed. You're making this much worse for yourself. Reeves." "You said I had 24 hours, Marcus replied evenly. "That was before I ran the plates on that sedan watching your shop." Daniels tossed a file onto the table. "Roman Vega's organization doesn't send observers unless they're planning something significant. When I saw you leaving with Olivia Wright and a child, I connected some dots." Marcus remained silent. "Assessing. The official story," Daniels continued, "is that Olivia Wright stole money from Vincent Castellano and disappeared. But my investigation suggested something different, that she was running from Castellano himself, not just taking his money. And?" Marcus prompted when Daniels paused. "And now she's back, with what appears to be your child, at the exact moment Vega's people start watching you." The detective leaned forward. "I'm not here to arrest anyone, Reeves. I'm here because there's a child involved, and because Roman Vega just put a $2 million bounty on Olivia Wright's head, dead or alive." The revelation struck Marcus like a physical blow. "How do you know that?" "Because I still have contacts in places Castellano's organization infiltrated." Daniels's expression hardened. "Including the department. By morning, every corrupt cop and bounty hunter in the city will be looking for her. And the child? Vega specified she's to be brought to him personally." Cold fury washed through Marcus. "That's not happening." "No," Daniels agreed, "it's not. Which is why I'm here instead of calling it in." He paused. "I've spent 6 years watching you rebuild your life, Reeves. Whatever you did before, you've been clean since. I respect that." Marcus studied the detective's face, searching for deception but finding none. "What are you proposing?" "A deal. I help get you Olivia and the girl out of the city tonight. In exchange, you give me whatever evidence Olivia has on Castellano's operation, evidence I'm betting implicates some of my colleagues. And if we refuse," Daniels shrugged, "then I walk away and let events unfold. But we both know how that ends." Marcus considered his options, then gestured toward the door. "Wait here." When he returned to Elijah's office, he found Olivia teaching Penny how to play a simplified version of poker with a deck of cards from Elijah's desk. The domestic scene struck him with unexpected force, this glimpse of what might have been, what still could be. "Detective Daniels knows about the flash drive," he announced without preamble. Olivia's hands stilled. How? He doesn't know exactly what's on it, but he knows it exists and that it's valuable enough for Vega to put a bounty on both of you. Marcus crouched to meet Penny's eyes. Hey, kiddo, can you help Mr. Elijah check on something in the other room for a minute? Penny looked between the adults, clearly aware something important was happening, but nodded solemnly. Elijah took her hand and led her out, murmuring about showing her the cool cars downstairs. Once they were alone, Marcus turned to Olivia. We need that flash drive. It's hidden, she replied. Far from here. Where exactly? Olivia hesitated. A safety deposit box in Seattle under an alias. The key is. She reached for the silver locket around her neck, opening it to reveal a tiny key sealed within a protective resin bubble. Daniels is offering to help us escape the city in exchange for the evidence, Marcus explained. Evidence he thinks will expose corrupt cops working with Castellano and now Vega. Can we trust him? Marcus ran a hand through his hair. I'm not sure we have a choice. If Vega's put out a bounty, we're running out of options and time. Olivia's eyes filled with determination. I didn't run for 6 years just to hand over our only leverage. This drive doesn't just implicate corrupt police, it has everything. Account numbers, client lists, murder orders. It's not just evidence, it's power. Power that's worthless if we're dead, Marcus countered. Or if Penny... He couldn't finish the thought. They stared at each other across the years of separation, the unresolved betrayals, the shared connection now embodied in their daughter. I have a counter-proposal, Marcus finally said. One that might give us all what we need. The final drive dawn broke over the city as 3 vehicles departed Elijah's compound in different directions. In the first, Elijah himself drove with 2 armed guards, creating a conspicuous diversion. In the second, Detective Daniels escorted an associate of Elijah's, a woman with auburn hair deliberately styled to resemble Olivia's, toward the state line. And in the third, a nondescript delivery van with false company logos. Marcus navigated carefully through morning traffic with Olivia and Penny concealed in a hidden compartment behind what appeared to be shelves of automotive parts. Status? Marcus asked into a secure radio. Elijah's voice crackled through the speaker. Eastern checkpoint clear. Proceeding to highway. Western route secure, Daniels reported moments later. No tails. Their plan was simple but dangerous, a 3-pronged approach to confuse anyone watching. While Elijah and Daniels drew attention with their decoys, Marcus would make the real journey to Seattle, where the flash drive waited. Inside the hidden compartment, Olivia held Penny close, whispering reassurances as the van swayed with each turn. A small air circulation system kept the space from becoming stifling, but it remained uncomfortably tight. How long? Olivia's voice came through the internal communication system. 3 hours to clear the city limits, Marcus replied. Then we switch vehicles at the waypoint. The radio crackled again, this time with Elijah's urgent voice. 2 sedans on my tail. Definite hostiles, Marcus tensed. Can you lose them? Working on it, Elijah responded, followed by the sound of acceleration. Minutes later, Daniels reported similar pursuers. The distractions were working, drawing Vega's people away from Marcus's route, but for how long? For nearly an hour, they proceeded without incident, navigating through industrial zones and suburban neighborhoods, constantly changing direction to ensure no one followed. Then, as they approached the first vehicle exchange, Point, an abandoned motel Elijah owned through shell companies, Marcus spotted a police cruiser pulling onto the road behind. Them, we've got company, he warned quietly. Into the communication system. Police, single unit. Coincidence? Olivia asked. Let's find out. Marcus deliberately missed a turn, watching to see if the cruiser would follow. It did, maintaining distance but clearly tracking them. Not coincidence, he confirmed grimly. Daniels warned some cops were on Vega's payroll. Options? Marcus considered their situation. The motel was just ahead, but leading the officer there would compromise the entire plan. Making a split-second decision, he activated the radio. Change of plans. Implementing Protocol Sierra. Protocol. Sierra was Elijah's contingency for law enforcement. Interference. a calculated risk that involved surrendering to a traffic stop but on their terms. Marcus pulled into an empty parking lot and stopped, keeping the engine running. In the hidden compartment, Olivia quickly helped Penny into a specially designed hiding space within the compartment itself, a space so cunningly crafted it would require dismantling the entire van to discover. The police cruiser pulled in behind them, lights flashing but no siren. Marcus watched in the mirror as a single officer emerged, hand resting casually on his holstered weapon. "Driver, step out of the vehicle with your hands visible." Marcus complied, presenting the fake ID Elijah had provided. "Is there a problem, officer?" The policeman, Officer Rawlins, according to his nameplate, kept his distance, eyes constantly scanning the van. "Routine check. This vehicle matches the description of one involved in a robbery." A blatant lie, but Marcus played along. "I've been making deliveries all morning. Check with the dispatch office if you need verification." Rawlins's hand never strayed far from his weapon. "Mind if I take a look in the back?" "It's locked from the inside," Marcus replied smoothly. "Company policy. I need authorization from dispatch to open it." He reached for the radio on the dashboard, deliberately slow and obvious. The movement made Rawlins tense. "Hands where I can see them!" Marcus complied immediately, recognizing the signs of a man looking for an excuse. "Just following protocol, officer." "New protocol," Rawlins countered, drawing his weapon. "Step aside while I check the vehicle." Marcus knew then that Rawlins wasn't just a corrupt cop. He was actively hunting them, likely informed by someone who had spotted the decoys. As Rawlins approached the van's rear doors, Marcus pressed a concealed button on his key fob. Inside the hidden compartment, Olivia received the signal and activated their emergency measure, a device that would flood the cargo area with harmless but thick smoke designed to provide cover. When Rawlins wrenched open the van doors, he was met with an explosive burst of dense white smoke. Marcus seized the momentary advantage, tackling the corrupt officer from behind and disarming him in one fluid motion. The struggle was brief but vicious. Though years removed from his criminal past, Marcus had never stopped training, never fully abandoned the skills that had once kept him alive. He subdued Rawlins with methodical precision, securing him with his own handcuffs. "Vega sent you," Marcus stated flatly, searching the officer's pockets and finding a burner phone. Rawlins spat blood from a split lip. "You're dead, Reeves. All of you. Vega doesn't forget. And he doesn't forgive." Marcus examined the phone, finding recent messages with coordinates and instructions. "Seems like you've been busy." He pocketed the device and dragged Rawlins to his cruiser. Securing him in the back seat, returning to the van, he opened the hidden compartment where Olivia and Penny emerged. "Shaken but unharmed. Change of vehicle," he announced, gesturing to the police cruiser. "And a change of plan." They transferred quickly to the cruiser, Olivia and Penny in the back, where the partition would shield them from view. Marcus took the officer's jacket and cap, just enough disguise to pass casual observation. "What about Seattle?" Olivia asked as they pulled away, leaving the smoking van behind. "We're not going to Seattle," Marcus replied, a new resolve hardening his voice. "We're going to finish this." Using Rawlins's police radio and credentials, Marcus gained access to patrol patterns and shift changes. With Daniels coordinating remotely, they formulated a bold new strategy, not to run from Vega, but to confront him directly. Intelligence from Rawlins's phone revealed that Vega was personally overseeing the hunt from his heavily guarded estate outside the city. The corrupt police network gave him eyes everywhere, but it also created a vulnerability: the arrogant certainty that he controlled the game. By nightfall, Marcus had positioned them at an overlook with clear view of Vega's compound. Daniels joined them there, his face grim. "This is insane," the detective muttered. "We should be getting you out of the state, not charging into the lion's den." "Running would never end," Marcus replied, studying the estate through binoculars. "Vega would hunt us forever, especially now that he knows about Penny." "The flash drive," Daniels began, "was never in Seattle," Olivia interrupted, earning surprised looks from both men. She reached beneath the police cruiser's back seat, prying open a hidden compartment to reveal a small waterproof case. It was always with us. With Penny. Understanding dawned on Marcus. The stuffed rabbit she carries. Olivia nodded. In a waterproof pouch sewn into the lining. I never let it out of our sight. The flash drive contained everything they'd claimed, account details, blackmail material, murder orders, but also something they hadn't mentioned, video evidence of Vega himself ordering executions, including that of a federal witness. This is enough to put him away forever, Daniels breathed, examining the files on a secure laptop. If we survive to use it, Marcus noted, their plan required precise timing and the element of surprise. Using Rawlins's credentials and Daniels's authority, they manufactured a false emergency requiring evacuation of Vega's security personnel. Meanwhile, Elijah's team would create a diversion at the main gate. You stay here with Penny, Marcus told Olivia as they prepared for the operation. If anything goes wrong, I know, she cut him off. We disappear. Marcus knelt before his daughter, still marveling at her existence. Hey, Penny, I need you to be brave a little longer, okay? Stay with your mom. I'll be back soon. Penny regarded him solemnly. Promise? The word carried weight beyond its simple syllables. A commitment not just to return, but to be the father she deserved. Promise, he replied, meaning it with every fiber of his being. The operation unfolded with military precision. As alarms blared and Vega's security team responded to the false emergency, Marcus and Daniels infiltrated the main house through a service entrance. They found Vega in his office, frantically gathering documents, clearly preparing to flee. Hello, Roman, Marcus said quietly. Vega froze, then slowly turned. Recognition flashed across his face. The driver? His gaze shifted to Daniels. And a detective. Interesting partnership? It's over, Daniels stated, weapon trained on Vega. We have everything. The records, the accounts, the videos. You're finished, Vega smiled thinly. Am I? You think you're the first to try bringing me down? His hand moved subtly toward his desk drawer. Don't, Marcus warned. But Vega was already lunging for what proved to be a hidden weapon. Daniels fired first, a clean shot that dropped Vega to the floor, wounded but alive. Federal authorities are already on their way, Daniels informed the fallen crime lord, securing his hands with zip ties. The evidence is being uploaded to multiple agencies as we speak. In the aftermath, as federal agents swarmed the